Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear viewers, listeners, this is your teacher, host, Ustaaz Waqar Nawaz. And today, inshallah ta'ala, we'll be doing the year 2011. As you know, we cover in each session 1 year, right? The June papers and the November papers. And the syllabus we're covering of Islamiyat, GCSE, and O levels is 2058. If you have any questions, you can send me your questions via the Gmail as well as via the WhatsApp as well. So it will be displayed on the screen as well. So we'll start today with June 2011. And let's move on to the first one. So today we are reviewing June 2011, paper 1. So the first question is, give an account of the events in the Caliphate. Sorry, not in the Caliphate. Give an account of the events of the Prophet's night journey and ascension. We all know that this is Isra and Mi'raj, right? And so Isra and Mi'raj. So this question is about Isra and Mi'raj. Remember that these are divided into 2 parts. The Isra is from Makkah Mukarramah till Masjid al-Aqsa. That's called as Isra. And Mi'raj is from Masjid al-Aqsa all the way to heavens. So this is important. So it will be a 10 marks question, remember, and you'll be mentioning more details into it as well. If you have time, you can mention the meeting of the prophets as well and all that, but you need to focus on the question, what we're doing. Then we move on to 3B, explain the importance of this event to the Prophet himself. So this is importance of Isra and Mi'raj with reference to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? Remember that this is the point where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam strengthened his bond with. His bond was strengthened anyway, but with this event, he developed this was strengthening his bond further, that is in relation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also with reference to, and this is the same event where Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu got the title As-Siddiq. Why? Because he certified, he said to the kuffar that yes, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to this journey, because to them this was unbelievable. Okay, we move on. You still have any question? As you can see on the screen, my email is there. You can write down email to me via that as well. Okay, let me show you on the screen the email, and it will be on there as well. Okay, here we go. It will be visible to you in a moment. So the question that I'm talking about, that is Isra and Mi'raj, will be shown to you as well. And then what do you call it? The second question I'm talking about, the importance of that event, that will be visible as well. So we move on to the next one. Now, the next question is, let me see, oh, why there is no going, yeah, let's see now. Yeah, that's better. So the next question is, the 2A, June 2011, P1 we're doing, the Quranic passages we have studied outline the relationship between the God and the 2 of the messengers. So we're going to be talking about the 2 of the messengers, but who was sent before Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we're not going to include Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So 2 passages are out. So we're left with 3 passages. One passage is on Isa alayhi salam. One passage is on Ibrahim alayhi salam, and the one passage is on Adam alayhi salam. So you're going to select out of these three, and you're going to write down the relationship of God with them. And the key in writing this answer is if you know the teachings of those Quranic passages with reference to these prophets. If you still have any questions regarding that, you can write it to me, as I already said to you. You can WhatsApp or you can email me. Or you can write it down in the comments as well of this chat as well. Now, explain why God sends his revelation through messengers, right? So this is a 4 marks question to be that why God sent his revelation through the messengers. You explain that, the purpose of the messengers. If you have done the belief in the prophets, we discussed in when we were doing 2010 papers as well, that if you do the belief in the prophet section from unit number 8, you will be able to answer this question very nicely without any problems, right? If you still have any problems, you can write it to me as well. Now we move on to 4a, write an account of the following figures during the prophet's time. That is Sayyidina Hamza, Sayyidina Abu Bakr, and Sayyidina Ali. Right, so we're going to be writing about, remember this is unit number 4, the early Muslim community. We're going to be writing about Sayyidina Hamza, we're going to be writing about Sayyidina Abu Bakr, we're going to be writing about Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And remember, it's a 10 marks question, so the balance is very important as well. You can't write more about Sayyidina Abu Bakr and less about Sayyidina Hamza and Sayyidina. So there got to be a balance. I would say let's go for 9 to 10 sentences on each, or 7 to 10, depending on how strong your sentences are. Now we move on to the next one, that is 4b. Explain why one of these figures was important in the development of Islamic community. So we select which of these three. So we got Sayyidina Abu Bakr, we got Sayyidina Hamza, we got Sayyidina Ali. So out of these three, we select one personality, right? And then we write about those personalities. Then move on to the next question, 5a. Describe the difficulties faced by the followers of the Prophet in Mecca. So this is difficulties faced by the followers of the Mecca. So the prophets, remember there's difficulties faced by the Prophet. This is the question within which we get the difficulties faced by the followers. But in this question, it is talking about the followers. We're going to mention about Sayyidina Bilal and the various other Sayyidina Uthman, Sayyidina Abu Bakr. You can mention, what do you call it? Sayyidina Ali as well to some extent, and the other companions, Sayyidina Abdul Rahman bin Auf and so forth, what the difficulties they faced when they accepted Islam. Okay, then we move on. What can these stories teach Muslims in their everyday life? Like the hardships that these Sahaba faced, what do we learn? When we face the hardship, we moan, we complain, right? But look at how the Prophet's companions, they face each other. So this is something we're going to be doing. Now we're moving on to 3b, explain why God sends his revelation through his messengers. So again, if you know this, you can answer that. That's 3b, that's a repeating as well anyway. So move on to paper 2, June 2011, paper 2. What part of the hadiths play in Islamic legal thinking? Islamic legal thinking, Islamic law. Remember, Islamic law has 4 sources. We already talked about it. The first one is Quran. The second one is Hadith. The third one is Ijma. The fourth one is Qiyas. So here we're talking about Hadith. What Hadith plays a role in the Islamic legal thinking. What is the importance of consensus or Ijma in Islam? This is very simple, importance of Ijma. Very simple question. You still not clear about these questions, or you want me to explain? I can do another session for you on certain topics as well. Right. Then we move on to 3a. Remember, we're doing June 2011. This is paper 2. We're doing a detailed account of the administrative measures in place by Umar radiallahu anhu during his caliphate. So this is unit number 7. We're talking about Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Umar's Caliphate, administration. The topic is administration of Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Move on to June 2011. Paper 2, we're doing 3B. Umar's Caliphate is regarded, Sayyidina Umar's Caliphate regarded as the golden period of Islamic history discussed. Very important question, very famous question. We talk about like why Sayyidina Umar's Caliphate was the golden period of Islamic history. If you still can't answer this question, you can ask me via email or via phone, that is WhatsApp. You can do that. And the numbers there at the bottom of the screen, and the email is there as well. So what are we doing? June 2011, paper 2 now we're moving on to. What does the statement? There is no ability or power except through Allah tell you about Muslim beliefs in what? Allah's predestination or decree. This is divine decree, my dear students and listeners and viewers. So this is divine decree we're talking about. Okay. So and predestination or qadr as well. And then we move on to what extent does this belief affect the Muslim's daily life? It is very, very important, because if you have a belief in divine decree, your whole perception of life changes. Your approach towards the life changes because you're responsible for your life. So whatever you do is your choice, the free will. If you can't achieve anything, you can't just blame it that, oh, because it was Allah's will, so I can't do it, right? So it's your efforts are there. So you're responsible for your efforts. So, and also that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and a few words about free will and all that, and then we're going to talk about that. And then we move on to the next one. What beliefs and practices are involved in? Remember, it's 5A, June 2011, P2, we're talking about stoning of Jamarat. Stoning of Jamarat, that's Hajj, unit 8. Oh, yeah. Let's see what's next. Performing CAIE. CAIE is again Hajj. So these are components of Hajj. So what the examiner is asking us is actually write about the beliefs and the practices of the Jamarat, CAIE, assembling in the Arafat. And this is the 10 marks question. So remember, balance between all these three. And then you write about this. Then we move on to the next one. That is explain the main differences of Hajj and Umrah. Piece of cake, right? But for that, you need to know what is Hajj and what is Umrah. And then you can write the two differences between the two, right? And then we move on the time period, the ihram and all that, and the practices, the methods, the components that are going to be different. So that's we're going to be talking about there. Now we're moving on to the next one, dear listeners and students. We've done June. Now we're moving on to November 2011. So with the paper 1, we look at first. So November 2011, paper 1, we're looking at 2A. Give an account how the Quran developed into a book form. So this is compilation of the Quran. Now, compilation of the Quran, remember, we have 3 phases. Compilation in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Compilation in the time of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. Third one, compilation in the time of Sayyidina Usman radiallahu ta'ala. Sayyidina Umar is all included in Sayyidina Abu Bakr's time. So these 3 stages of compilation we're going to mention, and how it developed into a book form. Then what is the significance to Muslims today of having a Quran in the book form? Again, importance of the Quran in a book form, why it is important to us. So we write about that, and then we move on to why did Quraysh feel they needed to reject the Prophet's message, right? So this is reasons for the reaction of the Makkans. We're going to write about that. Then write about the Prophet Muhammad's interaction with the Quraysh while he lived in Makkah, before and after the revelation, right? We write about that. Now we're moving on. If you still have any question on these, you can write it to me, or you can via email, or you can WhatsApp me. Moving on to November 2011, paper 1 we're doing. 4A, describe the Prophet's conduct as a leader in 2 of the battles he fought in, right? and the Prophet ﷺ as a leader we're talking about here. 4b, what can Muslims today learn from the Prophet's conduct in their relations with other states? Remember, it's a 10 marks question, so you got to be, again, your ability to concise and to present the main points in this is the main core in there. And if you still can't find this question, you can find it in the other part of your book, which is unit number 3, where it talks about the application. Where it talks, remember, we talked about a similar question, the role of the woman in Islam. So same place, right? The patience and perseverance of the Prophet ﷺ, the administration, Prophet ﷺ's administration. We talk about these things is going to be discussed in there. Right about the Prophet, life of Aisha radiallahu anha during the Prophet's lifetime. A 10 marks question, very easy. We write about Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu anha, and minimum 16 points. Remember references, and also mention how many ahadith she narrated. Move on to 5b. How can she be seen as a role model for the Muslims now? So this is 5b, November 11, P1 we're talking about. So Sayyida Aisha as a role model for the Muslim. Remember, it's not only Muslim women. So men can learn a lot about it. Remember, Sayyida Aisha's learning and so forth, and her association with Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also how she propagated the knowledge to the Sahaba and so forth. And her patience as well. That's very important. Now we moved on to November 2011, P2, paper 2 we're talking about. November 2011, 2A, outline the main teachings of the hadith. That is a hadith you studied from the passage set for special study about the responsibilities of individual Muslims. So this, in short, this is hadith for individuals, right? So you're going to be talking about teachings of the hadith regarding individual Muslims, right? Remember, there's one for community and there's one set of ahadith for individuals. So the ones who talk about individual, we're going to mention their teachings and present it there, right? And then the 2b, explained by giving an example how a hadith can be used together with the Quran in working out Islamic law, So very difficult question, I would suggest. Why? Because again, you have to concise a 10 marks question. This is the second time it's happening. A 10 marks question has to be reduced to a 4 marks question. So therefore, be careful in your length, but you need to mention an example how a hadith is used together with the Quran working out an Islamic law, right? The best example will be Salah, right? Remember the reference with the Prophet ﷺ said that see me how I do, right? And you perform as I do that. So moving on to 3A, briefly describe the main events of the caliphate of any of the 2 rightly guided caliphs given below, right? So what are you describing? Main event in the caliphate, right? So we're not going to go into unit 4. This is paper 2. We are talking about Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Osman. We're going to talk about 2 caliphs, right? 2 rightly guided caliphs. So therefore, we are going to be talking about, let's say, events in the caliphate of Sayyidina Abu Bakr and Sayyidina Umar is easy to write. So you can do that as well. And so that once that's done, right? So that's very easy question, but the only thing is there's a lot of facts in it, the battles in there, and those events you talk about that in the caliphate of Sayyidina Umar and Sayyidina Abu Bakr. If you still have any questions on that, this is very, very important question. 3A I'm talking about. This is a very important question, dear listeners. So please make sure you have a good grasp over this question. Yes, I'm talking about this question. So it's very important to be aware of this question. So please, these are must. This question, that is the Quran and Hadith working out Islamic law, this is must. And again, the question which is the events in the caliphate of Sayyidina Umar and Sayyidina Osman, these are again a must questions. Now we move on to November 2011. 3b. In your opinion, what was the most important task that faced Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu on becoming a caliph? Briefly discuss, right? This can be the battles against the false prophets, right? This can be the expansion of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, or a compilation of the Quran, right? So it's up to you which one you use and to explain. Now we're moving on to November 2011. 4a, give descriptions of the way in which the fasting and almsgiving are carried out among the Muslims, right? So remember, when we use almsgiving, it's used for sadaqah. But when it's using fasting and almsgiving, what it means here is fasting and zakat. So we're going to write about zakat and fasting here, and then show how these two pillars keep the Islamic community together. So you see in here, as I mentioned to you, so almsgiving can be sadaqah and zakat. How do we know what are we talking about? He says, show how these two pillars. So zakat is a pillar of Islam. So because of that, so therefore these two will be used to keep the Islamic community together. Give a full account of the Muslim belief in the Prophet. This is what I probably mentioned beginning of the session, that you got to know belief in the prophets. So continuously within 2 years, this question is coming. So that shows how important belief in prophets is. So you write about the belief in the prophets. Then briefly explain why Allah revealed different books from time to time, right? So we write about the belief, this is belief in revealed books. So we write it down as a 4 marks question, why time to time different books. Remember, there are different prophets, then different messages, there are different people. So because of that reason, Allah has to reveal, and also in those times as well, the books were for specific communities, right? Whereas in case of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is for the whole of the ummah, whole of the mankind, right? So the Quran is not only just for that. So the Quran is for the whole of the mankind. So it's not specific to any geographical location for the people of Middle East or something like that. No. So if you're still not clear about it, ask me, just WhatsApp me, or you can email me. And the best thing is just write in the chat of the YouTube, which is you just seeing it, and or the video, the chat of the video or the comments of the video, you can, and inshallah I will respond to you like that. So that's all we have, dear listeners, viewers, and students. So today we did 2011. So alhamdulillah ta'ala, we covered the papers of 2011. If you have any questions, please do ask me. Do take care of yourselves, and inshallah ta'ala will be seeing you soon. Take good care of yourselves. And yes, if you still have any questions, you can write it to me on the email. And I've been saying this again and again, email, or because it's important. If you have any question, it needs to be cleared up. So therefore, take good care of yourself, and inshallah ta'ala, see you soon with the 2012. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.